Hi there, how you all doing? So today we'll be looking at redirecting user to a specific URL or redirecting them to a specific page in our Flutter app using by using the Flutter push notification. So it's gonna work in a way that, let me show you my app. It's gonna work in a way that when a user clicks on the Flutter push notification, is going to redirect them to either Play Store or a specific URL, or is going to direct them to a specific page in our Flutter application. Okay, so this was the where we stopped at the previous video. So you can see it still has the Flutter Firebase messaging, and it's still the same thing. I didn't make any changes, I didn't modify anything, everything still works out. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to create a page. So I'm going to create another page that's going to be launched whenever we click on the push notification from the notification drawer, which is this side. Okay, so this is going to be details page. So I'll just make this details.dat and just import the material app, material package. So I'll just return a stateful widget here. So this is just going to be details, and it's going to have a scaffold as so. I'll return a scaffold widget with an app bar. The app bar is required, so I'll just put the app bar, and the app bar will just have a title with a test widget. So this is second page. So I'll also return a body that will have a center widget. So this will have a child of test. Okay, this is the second page. So right now this page you can see it because we haven't navigated to it. So what I'm going to do, I'll replace this increment counter stuff. Okay, so instead of increment counter, it's just going to launch the next screen using navigator.push. So make sure you remove that 0 and remove this. So I'll use the navigator class. So this is the navigator dot push. Okay, current context, and the route is going to be material page routes. Material page routes, and it's going to return a contest. You're going to have a contest, sorry, and then here I return the details page. Okay, the detail page, and make sure you close this. Close this. Awesome. Okay, why is this showing? Maybe we need to import it. Okay, import this library. Import the page. All right. So I need this to be properly formatted, so I'll add the trailing comma and format this. Okay, so let me do a hot restart. So this button is not going to function as an increment button. It's going to be a button that launches the next route. Okay, so I'll have to click on it, and now we have the second page. Okay, so this, I'm not going to be doing this manually, so the push notification is actually going to handle this. Whenever we click on it, it's going to open the second page. This same method I'm going to show you now is still going to work if you have more than one page in your Flutter app. Okay, so you just have to follow my method and everything is going to work out as planned. So first and first, I'm going to show you how to open the next page, and after that I will show you how to launch a URL. Okay, so this the Firebase plugin which we added in our prospect.yaml file already comes with some classes and property that we haven't even implemented yet. So what I'm going to do, so I'm not using this callback, so I think it would be good if I get rid of it. Okay, so I'll still leave this counter, so it doesn't change anything whether I remove it or I still leave it. So what I'm going to do, I will create a variable which is Firebase messaging, and it's going to have the name of Firebase messaging. So I will need to extend initialize it here. You can decide to initialize it inside a init method, whichever way it's still going to work. So right now I'm going to create a function. Okay, sorry, I'm going to rerun that again. So while it's running, I'm still going to continue what I'm doing. So here, while it's running, I will create a method, Firebase, Firebase trigger. Okay, I will just give it a name, Firebase. Let's see, Firebase trigger. Okay, so it's going to be an asynchronous function because we are receiving something from the internet, so I need to make it async and use an await inside. So now we have this stuff, so I'm going to make use of this Firebase messaging and also access each object and properties that this Firebase messaging plugin has to offer. So I will use something like Firebase messaging, which is the variable name dot, it has a configure. So you can see this configure now have so many functions, callback functions. It has a message which will be called whenever the user receives the message. On background message, we also have on launch that will be called, let's say the user has not opened our app, so once they click on the notification, the on launch property will be called. The on launch callback will be called, like it will be triggered. Then we also have the on resume. So let's say the user just minimize the app, like you minimize the app, and once you click on it, once you click on the notification, you're just going to call on launched. It's starting the app from the beginning. So I will configure. So the first thing is on message. Okay, this on message, I don't think anything needs to be here. So what I'm just going to do is just print out the on message callback. Okay, so just print message. Okay, so I'm not going to be working with that. Okay, this keeps closing because of the error. Okay, so I'll run it again. So here I'm going to call on launch. So on launch callback will be called, as I explained, when the user just starts the app from the beginning by clicking on the notification. So this one will be called. So I'll just print out message, and then finally inside this callback is going to be on resume. So this is what I'm going to be working on. I won't be working with the on launch or on message, but it's still good to run the same method, the same function, the same callback function that you already on launch, so that it's going to still give you what you want. So I've just called this as a message. Oops. Okay, so now we have the on message, we have the on launch, we have the on resume. Okay, so I need to call this method inside init. So once our app is reviewed, I'm seeing an error somewhere. Where is it coming from? Oops. This keeps closing my app, so I'll remove that and relaunch the app again. Okay, so now let's see, we have this function Firebase trigger, I sync, on launch method, on resume message. So now I'm going to call this message inside init callback, the init method. So this is the first method that gets called whenever our app is being launched. Okay, so this is one of the Flutter lifecycle. You should want to check that out. Seems Flutter have more than one lifecycle. We have the init on did. So I'll call this method here. It has did update widget, did update dependency. It also has the dispose method, which is also a life cycle of Flutter. So I'll call this Firebase trigger here, and everything is okay. Alright, all good. But since I'll be launching a URL, since I'll be launching a page, a route, so I need to put a build context here that will be used. So CTS, and then here I'm going to provide that context. Okay, by default init state already has its own context, so I'm going to provide it there. And okay, that's good, everything is nice. So I'm just going to wait for the app to launch. Now it's building, so just give it a little bit of time. So okay, so the app is up and running. Let's do a hot restart here. So what I'm going to do, I'll go over to my Firebase console and then send another notification. So minimize this because we'll be working with the on resume callback. Okay, so go over to Firebase. So this was the last message we sent on the previous tutorial. So instead of creating a new notification, I'm just going to duplicate this. Okay, so still leave the message, the title and the subtitle as the same. Click next. So our target app is still the same thing. So click next. So here, this is where we are going to do what is going to trigger the configure the on message and all that. So here we have the click action as a callback, a key, and we have the Flutter notification click as a value. So now let's say we want to launch a specific page on our app. I can just do something like a page, and the value can just be hello launch page. Okay, so whenever we identify this page, it's going to launch the page that is being specified in our app. So let's say we want to launch a URL, let's say Play Store or whatever. So I will just call this as a link, and first I can just launch Google for the start. So just put the Google address, https okay. So this is going to identify it as the value link. So this is what we're going to be, this is the only thing that we'll be looking at from our Flutter application. I'll be looking at the link and the page key. So whenever we identify this, we should get the value, and also this one has a value. So I'm just going to send this notification. So review and then publish. So from the message that will be printed, you should see the page and also the link as a string that will be printed as a JSON file. Okay, so let's go back to my app. So you can see we have the Flutter icon. That means the notification has been received. So what I need to do now, bring this down and click on, this is my first notification. So I'm going to click on this notification. Once I click on it, it's going to call this callback on resume, and we should see the JSON file. It's going to return everything as a JSON. So now we have the app. Okay, it actually didn't show. It didn't print out. Maybe because I was supposed to do a hot restart. I did a hot restart. Okay, I'll restart this. Let's actually see the JSON string that will be printed out for us. Okay, we got nothing, nothing, nothing. Okay, this is a void. I should remove it as void. Let's see. Restart. Sorry, let's reload. So maybe I'm going to send a notification again because we don't receive any JSON file, any JSON string. Sorry. So what I do, I will minimize this again and go back. Okay, it seems it has been printed. Okay, sorry, it has been printed now. So we have the JSON string. Look at it. It took some time, maybe because I put it. It's an asynchronous function, so it took some time to actually show. So we have the data, and you can see from the on resume I printed the message has the. You can see the click action value and the Flutter notification click, which was specified on the Flutter console, the Firebase console. Sorry. So I have the link, and you can see the link is http://google.com. And I think I also have the page, so hello launch page dot blah blah blah. So first thing first, I'm gonna do something here. So first I need to access this data and then access this page, which is going to be unique. So whenever we have a page, it's just going to launch the details page for us. So what I'm going to do is, instead of this printing out this, I remove it and say final data equal to message. So I'm going to access this very data here, message, and then access the data. So if you don't know what I'm doing here, I have a video on pasting JSON data using Flutter, so you might want to check it out. And also I'm going to put a link in the description below. Okay, so now I've finally accessed the data inside this JSON object. So now I need to use an if statement. So I will say if data, okay, the data, and then from the data I can access the page. So this is the page, which is the key I gave it. So just copy that and put here. So now I've accessed the page successfully. So if the page is not null, so launch your route here, launch route. Okay, so we can just, instead of retyping that, I will go down and copy the routes. So just copy this stuff here. Okay, and go back to the route and paste it here. Okay, so you might want to do the same thing here also as well on the you might want to do the same thing inside on launch. Okay, alright, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to send another notification, and you will see this in action. It's not just going to show the main page for us, it's going to launch the second page for us, which is the details page. So I will go back, make sure you do a hot restart before you do anything. So I need to show my app first. So just resume this and do a hot restart. Okay, so hot restart is there. So just close, minimize this. Okay, it's showing no, I don't need this for now. So minimize this. Is working based on the previous notification we sent. So what I'm going to do, I will go, so you can see now the route is not actually on the details page, it's currently on the main page. Okay, so minimize it, go to your cloud messaging. So I will duplicate this and send another one. So duplicate notification and just go down, next this, just the target, make sure it stay the same, next, and so I still have my page here. If I change this, it's not going to work. So I want to make sure that it's still the same thing as page, because that's what we are using to identify it there. But you can still change the value if you want. You can change the value to whatever thing you want, but just make sure the key is the same thing so that you can use it to identify it. So I will receive this review and then publish, wait for the notification. Okay, it has been sent. Let's go back to our app, and here I have the notification. Okay, you can see the Flutter showing. So just bring this down and click on it. You will notice that it's going to open the next page for us. Okay, you can see directly to the second page. Awesome. So this is how you navigate a user to the next page using push notification. So once you click on it, you just take them directly to the second page, because this page is not null. But assuming this page is null, it will just remain on the main page. It will not navigate to the second page. Okay, so guys, so far I've showed you how to navigate to another page using Flutter push notification. So now I'm going to show you how to launch a specific URL. Okay, so take user to that very page you want them to go, to that very website you want them to go. So for this tutorial, I believe I'll be using I don't know, I'll be using the URL launcher plugin for Flutter. So this just helps us to launch a URL. So you can see const URL, you put the URL of the user, then if await can launch URL, then await launch URL and all that. But before I can use it, I need to install the plugin inside my prospect.yaml file. So click on installing, copy this dependency. So we need to depend on it. So go over to your project, go to prospect.yaml file. Then under here, I'm going to paste this. And don't forget to run Flutter pub-get to make sure the dependency has been installed correctly. Okay, so I like running this twice to actually be sure that everything is good. Okay, you can decide to run it as much as you can. Let's say 3. Okay, all right, so right now I will go back to my main.dat, because this is where I'm going to run the function. So still inside this Firebase trigger, I'm going to create another function, okay, at the end of this. So just create another function. So this is going to be launch URL function. Okay, for faster implementation, I'm just going to copy this that they are already giving us here. So just scroll down. So I'll copy this. Okay, and go back to my app and paste it here. So it will ask us to import this, or let me just start from beginning so that you will understand. Okay, I'll just remove this, start from beginning so that you'll be able to understand what I'm actually doing. So first I'm going to create a function that's going to launch the URL, launch URL. So since I'll be calling this function inside this Firebase trigger function, I need to actually specify a string. Okay, so I'm going to pass the URL based on the value that the user put inside the Firebase. You know, we have the key and the value. So based on the value that is being passed inside while sending the push notification. So go down, launch. So this link, this string is just going to be the link, and it's going to be a synchronous function. So I will do something like, so I don't need to like use the final URL, I don't need to create any URL, so the URL will be passed as a parameter inside this function. So I will do something like if await, so is in a synchronous function, so we need to wait for it. If await can launch URL, so this is coming from the URL launcher plugin. You can see can launch, and it is import, it automatically launch the, it will automatically import the URL launcher for us. So just click on that. So it needs the URL string, so I'm just going to pass in this link that I specified there. So if await can launch link, so you can just launch the link. So I can say await launch. It's also coming from the URL launcher, so I'll just say launch URL. right? Should be launch URL uppercase. No, await launch. Okay, await launch. Then the URL string, I'll still pass in the link. But if you cannot, I can just leave it like that. So that means it's going to remain on the main page. Okay, so launch string URL, but I'm having so many red lines. Where are they coming from? I'm having so many red lines here. Let's see. And it shouldn't be like that. Nope, I don't think this should be there. Okay, remove that. That was the error causing square bracket, curly bracket. Okay, so launch URL string link sync. All right, so now I will do on resume message final data and all that. So if data page is not null, it's going to launch this. Or maybe let's say it's null, you can just call the launch URL and then I'm required to pass the string. So the string will be gotten from data. So remember, the data, I have a property, a key of link to actually use to identify it. So I pass link as the key there. All right, I pass link as the key. Okay, so we'll be using link. This link is going to be unique, but if you change the key from the Firebase console, this is not going to work because it will assume that the launcher cannot launch the key because it cannot find anything. So it should just see it as a null value, null key, nothing like link. So it won't launch. It will just remain on the main page. So this is everything we need, I guess. So launch URL, blah blah blah, data, launch URL, blah blah blah, await async. Okay, so I will do a hot restart. So first let me bring out my device. So do a hot restart. It's still launching the second page. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to comment this navigator.push so that it won't open the second page every time we do hot restart. So I'll do a hot restart. I believe it will launch again. Oops, it's still going to launch because I only commented the on launch callback. I didn't comment the one for. Okay, it didn't go back there, but it's still good. I just comment the one for on resume. Okay, and then do a hot restart. But if you're pushing your app for production, no worries, just you can still put it on. No worries, it's not going to give you any issue. So I will go back to my Firebase console, and then first I need to minimize these, okay, to be on the recent tab. Then go back to the cloud messaging and duplicate this message. So for now we are going to launch the google.com because that is what I put as a value inside the link. So next this, just next. So for now we are going to launch google.com because this is the key link, and you want to make sure that the link is the same thing as this one. So it's the same thing, data link. And okay, so let's send another notification. So review and publish, wait for it. Okay, it seems the message has been sent. Let's go back to our app. Go back to this. So I'm going to click on it. So we have the notification. Click on it, and I believe this should launch google.com. So click on it and wait for the callback. Okay. They have missing plugin exception implementation found. Okay. And we start it again. So just kill the app and we start it again. So this should work. Just wait, give it a little bit of time. Okay, the app is up and running. So I will close it. I'll minimize it and then send another notification. Okay, so we still have the link and the Google. You just click on review and publish. Wait for it. Alright, it has been sent. Let's go check it out. So we have it here. So I'm going to click on it to see Google in action. So just click. And hooray, we have the Google launched. So we have google.com. Google.com. So this is the website. So the next thing I'm going to show you now is how to launch Play Store URL using the same method. It's still the same thing, no two difference. So I will go back to my app. So just click on back to actually return back to my app. Okay, so I will minimize this, go to console and publish it. It's still the same thing. So with that method I show you, we can actually launch any valid URL. It doesn't matter the URL, but as long as the URL is valid, it's just going to launch. So I will show you how to launch Play Store. So actually I'll be using an app from Play Store. So we place this. So the app name is Timion.com. So I've already opened it. Timion actually is a time market and online shopping app. This video is not sponsored by Timion, but I just decided to use Timion for it. So feel free to download the app, sign up, and start shopping for free. Okay, so the app actually works with a cryptocurrency called Obzit Coin. So you can use it to shop at 99% off the market price. So that is a huge one. So what I'm going to do, I will copy the address of the app. So that's what I'll be using. So copy this and go back to my console. So I will replace this Google with the app URL. So make sure you still have this as the key as the link. So what I'm going to do, I'll review this and publish. So wait for it. Okay, the campaign was successfully saved and notification sent. So I will go back to my app. So now bring this down and click on it. You should see it's going to launch that URL. So it's asking me open with Play Store or open with Chrome. So you can decide to open it with Chrome, but if the user does not have Play Store, it will open it with Chrome by default. But since I already have Play Store already, so I'll just click on Play Store and this will just launch my Play Store and also take me directly to the app. You can see how awesome Timion time market and online shopping. So this method is always good if you want to force user to like update your application. So whenever they click on the notification, to just take them directly to your app where they can just launch their application. Okay, so don't mind my name here. This is just a review I gave to the app because it's an awesome app that I downloaded. Okay, so awesome. So guys, so far you have learned how to, I've showed you how to redirect user to a specific route in your Flutter app, and I've also showed you how to redirect user to Play Store or any other URL using the Firebase push notification. Okay, thank you guys for watching. So I so much appreciate your time. Do well to subscribe, like, and also share. If you have any awesome contribution or anything you notice while watching the video, put it down in the comment section and I'll do well to reply to your comments. Thank you so much. Do have a nice day.